Hi there, going to be popping into the kitchen to make some Scotch broth, some vegetarian Scotch broth, inspired by Sharon, who made her own the other day. I said we were going to do ours, so that's what I'm going to do now. And we're sort of calling it the Scotch-ish broth because we're going to use what's in the cupboard. So I've got some chana dal, which I have, which are yellow split peas, and we're going to use those instead of the traditional green split peas that you would use. So I'm going to get on and do that now, and we're going to have that for lunch with some homemade bread. Here we have the ingredients for our Scottish broth, which is Scotch-ish broth. Yeah, Scottish broth. Anyway, Clarice will be able to do that far better than I am. What we're using is garlic, onions. We're going to use some parsnip in this one just to sweeten it a tad, and also we've got these to use up in the freezer, so we're using this. If you wanted to use swede instead, you could do that. Over here we've got carrots. Then we have split, this is chana dal, this is split yellow lentils that we're using, split yellow peas in fact that we're using. And we have pearl barley as well. Both of these have been soaked individually for 10 minutes and then run in a sieve under cold water to get all the starch off. We're going to be using celery. This is 3 cabbage leaves. These are our Portuguese cabbage leaves that we're using. Stock cubes, though we use Swiss bouillon powder, olive oil and pepper. So now I'm going to prep these ingredients and show you what they look like. Here we have all the ingredients prepped. We've got our onions and garlic here, celery here, carrots here. There's 2 sprigs of thyme, which I forgot to mention earlier, so we've just pulled those in from the garden. So the carrots and the celery, they're sort of in half centimetre to half centimetre chunks, as is the onions and celery. At the back here, we have the cabbage leaves, which have been not finely shredded, but shredded, and we've kept the stalks. So the stalks are going in as well. There's a tablespoon of water here, which is actually going to help with the sauteing of these. And then here we have the parsnip, which again is in similar chunks. This has been steamed and frozen and therefore is going to go in at the same time as we put the chana dal and the barley in. And then at the back we've got at the moment 1 litre of made up vegetable stock, and we will add another litre during the cooking. So now we're going to add the oil to the pan and get going. Right, so here's our pan. Just turning the heat on, not too high. Adding about a tablespoon of oil into the pan, and then you don't want it to start smoking at all. You want it to warm up nicely. So all of this is going in. So that's the carrots, onions, celery and thyme. I lost a bit then, but it's not going to get away. It's going in. Okay, so there we have our onions, garlic, carrots, celery and thyme. We're going to let this cook on a low heat covered with a lid for 5 minutes. But this is where the water comes in. I'm adding a tablespoon of water because I want these to saute and steam. I don't want them to brown. So let me just, the heat is just coming back up. Okay, now I'm going to add the lid, and that will now have 5 minutes. This has been cooking away for about 5 minutes. The vegetables here will not be cooked. They will have just softened down. You can see, I think, that hopefully the thyme, everything there really has softened down a little bit. This is called, the onion, celery and carrots here is called a mirepoix in French cookery, and is the basis for many dishes. In fact, it's a basis for many dishes around the world. Someone said to me in Italy they call this the Holy Trinity. I'm not sure, because I don't think they'd say Holy Trinity. I think they'd say it in Italian. But also I thought a Holy Trinity was Cajun cooking with onions, celery and bell peppers. But you know what? It doesn't really matter, does it? None of us are, well, some of us may be cordon bleu chefs, but I'm not. Now we're adding in the parsnip. I don't really like wasting anything, so get every bit out, stir that through. That parsnip will just break down. And now we're going to add these are lentils, but you can use the traditional green split peas if you like, and the pearl barley. As I say, these have been washed, so they will have sort of clung together a little bit. Okay, you can see this is going to make a very hearty soup, because that pearl barley is going to swell. The chana dal is going to cook through and become soft and add substance to this all. It's a really good protein dish, and there's nice starch in the pearl barley as well. Lots of vitamins and minerals in the vegetables. And now we are going to add a bit of stir. That's 1 litre of stock. Sorry, and in that vegetable stock, I'd also put a really, really good grinding of black pepper. So that went into the vegetable stock. I'm going to turn up the heat now, get some more water from our kettle. So in there at the moment, I've got about 1 3/4 litres of water. So that was 1 litre of the stock, and there's another 3/4 of a litre of water gone in there. We'll most probably be adding more water, but let's just see how the dal and the pearl barley cooks down. So there we are. I think you can see that's on a high heat, just coming to a simmer. So hopefully you can see that there's bubbles here rising to the surface. We'll just let that come to a simmer. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to cover this, turn it onto a low heat, and I'm going to let that simmer for a full hour. I will stir it maybe every 15 minutes and just check how it's doing. So this is the Scotch-ish broth. It's a vegetarian Scotch broth. What we did is, after I took the lid off, the barley, as you can see, has plumped up nicely. The lentils, which is chana dal here, are absolutely soft now. Lovely. We've added in the Portuguese cabbage that we had, though you can use whatever cabbage leaf that you have. Obviously you can use kale in this. You can use spinach if you want, though that is a bit less robust. You can use chard leaf, and feel free to chop up the chard stalk and put that in as well. I've just added about 200 mils of water into here just to thin it down a little bit, because while it's cooked, a lot has evaporated. Sorry, a lot has been absorbed, obviously, but some has evaporated as well. Now I'm going to just let this cook for 10 minutes so that the cabbage is fully cooked through and unctuous. And then we're going to have this for lunch. Richard's not home at the moment, but I'm looking forward to tucking in, and I'm sure when he sees this, he will too.
So this is your Scotch broth. Excuse me, Clarice, my terrible Scots accent, Scottish accent, or whatever you say. Looks nice. Looks like a sort of pearl barley version of risotto.
In a way, it is.
Except it's more liquid.
More liquid, yeah.
Is it from a recipe?
It's a Paul Savidor special, sort of. So it's based on a recipe, but it's got our own stuff on it. Yeah, you like?
I love pearl barley anyway, because it's that sort of chewiness that you get. Yeah, it's like a lovely vegetable soup, warming, which is just what I need, having just gotten in from being in town. I'll tell you about that later.
Okay, we're going to eat now. You
Okay.
can see he's eating already.
Bye.
Bye.